hitting each other.
Why don't you give it a shot then?
It's a big number.
I thought yesterday was great. Was there anything on your coaching staff where this gets to be kind of complicated in the one-on-one with, guys at the bottom of the roster and working with them? And does this gets to be a complex thing to put on as a coaching staff or as a team? The host
Practice.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. As long as there's good communication and dialogue, and I just think there's so many benefits to this. Just getting different looks, both sides of the ball, really, and then just the competition and on the special teams period. That was outstanding. So I thought it was a great day of work. Certainly a lot of things to learn from, both positively and negatively, and I'm sure both teams will make adjustments, and we'll have another great day today.
In that regard, future down the road next year, would you like to do two sets of joint practices again, the way you have this year?
Most likely, yeah. I just think there's so much to get out of it, and so especially when you're going against people that you know or respect, and how they go about their business and run their operation. I think that there's just so much good out of it.
Now, what do you think you're getting out of Brooks and Wooden on that D-line so far?
Yeah, both those guys have done a really nice job, and they got to continue to stack that. And they're obviously young players, but I think they've provided a spark in terms of some internal pass rush that we're definitely going to need. And I think that's the name of the game in this league, in terms of if you can get teams into those passing situations and get pressure on the quarterback, you got a much better chance of having success defensively.
Matt, you mentioned yesterday that you and Jordan and the offense had no idea what was coming as far as what the defense was going to be calling. How do you think Jordan handled it? How do you think he kind of responded in that situation?
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job. I thought really all the quarterbacks did, because Sean had a situation. I think New England does an outstanding job of disguising coverage. Many times they're going to present you with a look that looks like it's going to be zero pressure or all-out pressure, and so that can be a little unnerving, especially when it's in some of those third down situations that are a little bit longer, where they're going to try to make you get the ball out of your hand faster than you'd like to. And shoot, Sean had one in the 2-minute situation where he max protected, and it was all out. But they do such a great job of presenting that look and then bluffing out of it and playing coverage, and that's the last thing you want to do is have a 7-man protection, only getting 3 out in the route, and they've got 7 guys in coverage. So it's just, I thought it was really beneficial for our guys to see those different looks and experience something new.
With Luke, you found obviously some creative ways to get him the football. This time of year, is it because you pinpointed him as a guy who's going to be a difference maker for you, or is it just a mere matter of experimenting to see what he can and can't do?
I think all of the above. I think we're still trying to figure out all these guys, and you're going to try to put them into maybe some uncomfortable situations to really push the limit and try to get the most out of them. So I do think he's got a really unique skill set, and the fact that he can really run, and so we're going to keep on pushing it.
So I'm sticking with Luke. You've talked a million times about the challenges of that position because there's so much to learn, and the rookie history suggests that it is a tough position to learn. So do you have to kind of tamp the brakes a little bit, or is it just full speed ahead until you know that you can't?
I would say it's that approach. I mean, we're going to throw as much at him until we're like, all right, that's probably too much. And right now he's doing a great job of being able to handle it, and so we're going to keep pushing him.
Are you more inclined to play Jordan this week or next week?
I don't know yet. I'll let you know after today, Rob.
Is Dave going today?
I believe Dave is going today.
Go ahead. Last year, kind of when he came back from the high ankle sprain, Romeo seemed to not struggle, but like it was a challenge getting off the line when teams were pressing him, like kind of back end of the year. Really seems like he's improved so far in that regard. Is that something that you guys had him working on, or was that just his natural progression?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a prerequisite of playing that position. And you are going to get challenged in this league. And I think anytime you have a setback, sometimes it is hard to kind of get going again, especially when it's mid-season like that or late into the season. But he's a guy that has that ability, had it in college. He does a really good job when he uses his technique and gets his feet in the ground. He is very tough to jam on the line of scrimmage. And so I think it's just a conscious approach that you can never take it for granted, and you got to play every play and be totally 100% like focused on that moment and have a plan on going up to the line of scrimmage, and also studying your opponents and knowing how they want to play. Is this going to be a guy that's going to try to quick jam me? Is he going to play flat on the line of scrimmage? Is he going to inch off the line of scrimmage? So that's something that we always, as coaches, try to provide that information to our players, but also expect our players to study film on their own. And again, it was good to go against some other guys yesterday, and there were a couple instances where they were trying to quick jam and gave us some different looks that we haven't seen. So it was really good.
What did you think of Clifford's decision to go deep on the last play of 2 minutes? So did he score? And then, I mean, even if he didn't, what's the risk reward?
Well, I think it provided some really good conversation in terms of, number one, I think he was out of bounds, but at the half-yard line, it looked like his hand touched before his knee. But in a real game, hopefully we don't have everybody coming off the bench, so we can go clock the ball. But that was a great situation to be in terms of, if you don't score there, you're going to be, pressed against the clock in order to get the ball clocked on the half-yard line.
Matt, how has the operation been in front of Anders from long snapper to holder? And then on that kick that just got knocked down by the wind yesterday, was that just wind or was there a mishit there?
I'm assuming it's a mishit because he's got a big-time leg, and we know that. But, I think for the most part, the operation's been pretty solid.
Talking to guys like Jaden Reed and Anthony Johnson the last few days, they've talked about how good they feel about the playbook. I guess just speaking of the rookies as a whole, where they need to be mentally? Are they ahead of maybe where the typical group is? Is there any measurement there?
I mean, it's tough to tell. I'll have a better indication as we go longer together. But I think as far as what we've asked them to do up to this point, and I also think that training camp typically is the toughest time because your playbook is wide open. And when we get into game weeks, it's very specific. You have more time to prepare for it. In terms of just, you've got all week, you're repping it on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday to go out there and perform it on Sunday. So, whereas in training camp, we might, like this morning, throwing a few plays at them, and that's the first time. It's not the first time they've necessarily heard the concept, but it might be formationed or structured a little bit differently.
Is Reed good to go today?
We'll see. He's going to go through Indy for sure, and then we'll make a determination after that.
How did you feel about the play of the defensive front yesterday? It looked like they were able to generate a lot of pressure. The defensive front.
Yeah, it was. Are you talking about our defense?
Yes.
Yeah, our defense did an outstanding job of winning their one-on-ones when they got them. Sometimes guys were splitting double teams, so I thought the pressure on the quarterback was pretty consistent. So I was pleased with that. I think from an offensive standpoint, like I said earlier, the Patriots do a really good job of giving you a lot of different looks, and they use personnel in a very unique way in terms of moving guys around. And I mean, one play the guy might be a linebacker, the next play might be lined up over a guard as like a 3 technique or on the edge. And there was definitely some communication busts that we had up front where they were able to generate pressure, and I think it's one of the better fronts in the league.
Is there any comparison to where Lucas Van Ness is compared to like where Rashawn Gary was, both kind of coming and playing somewhat different positions here and having that learning curve trying to get ready?
Well, I mean, they're playing the same position. It's just how do you use them within that position. So, I'll be honest with you, that first year was a whirlwind. So to go back and try to think about that, I do think Lucas is coming along, and everybody comes along at their own pace, and but he's a guy that he comes to work every day with the right mentality and attitude, and you know you're going to get 100% of what he has to give. And so we're going to keep pushing him to be able to go out there and contribute for us.
That shot that Jordan took to Christian Watson, that's 75 yards when Christian came across the field yesterday, Jordan said it was the first time y'all have had success with that field post this year. Why is that difficult? Is that sort of indicative just of his progress too?
Well, I think the further you throw the ball down the field, naturally, the lower the completion percentage, and that's just football. So that was good. It was good to see him do that. I think he's done a better job of putting air under the ball, allowing our receivers. We've got some pretty good speed, allowing those guys time to adjust down the field. And we're still a work in progress because we missed a few other throws that. I mean, he had one to Rome that was close. He had another one where he tried to throw kind of a more of a line drive go ball to Christian, and we got to get everybody on the same page on that in terms of when you look, when you don't look. So there's still a lot of room for improvement there, but I was pleased with that play for sure.